cloud or on-premise based that you are using as a part of your solution. Now let's get into an ITSM solution highlights. So what you should have in a ITSM solution that you are using to provide IT services to your customers or to your employees in a large corporate. So number one is that you should have support for different process areas like service request, incident, problem, change, and knowledge base. You should also have support for asset management and supplier management. You should have the objects for accounts, contacts, and contracts. Service plans and SLA management is a critical component of any ITSM solution. And of course, you should have the security management for your customers, for your service providers. So these are the different process areas you must have in a ITIL compliant IT service management solution. Also, in today's world, you are providing services to multiple customers in different geographies, and also who are providing services may not be serving from a single geography. They may be from different geographic location. So you need an access to a solution which is 100% web-based and available anywhere, anytime. So we talked about these process areas that need to be part of an ITSM solution. And how do you automate this solution or the process areas? So for that, what you need is a strong workflow automation technology and a workflow designer using which you can automate all these process areas like service request, incident management, problem management, change management, like that. And then you should provide a very simple one-click service desk for your service consumers. We call that as a service catalog. And that is a critical component for your ITSM solution. Of course, you should have consolidated reports and dashboards with drill-down capability to the detail level. As we talked about SLA or service level agreement is a very critical component of any ITSM solution. So as a part of your engagement with the customer, you have defined SLAs. So how do you basically define your SLAs? It could be simple and complex. And how do you escalate policies and enforce business rules? That is very important in a typical ITSM solution. And then you would not be using only the ITSM application, but you would be using several other tools like device monitoring tools, any other tools that you would be using that has to be integrated with this ITSM solution. So you should have an integration framework around your solution which would help in including all these tools as a part of your ITSM service. And then you have to have a mechanism for creating tickets or capturing tickets from emails, from alerts, from device monitoring tools, and how do you automatically capture those service tickets, because that's the start of any IT service solution. Now let's get into some detail about service level agreement. So as I told you that SLA is a very critical component of any ITSM solution. So you have to have an infrastructure where you can define flexibly simple or complex SLAs. It can be based on a particular customer type, based on a particular geographic location, based on a particular service type, so and combination of several factors. So it could be complex, and your solution should be flexible enough to support defining SLS, complex SLS, and just through drag and drop configurations. And then once you define your SLA, how do you track your SLA compliance? So that should be part of your ITSM solution. And the solution should be proactively sending notification and alerts so that you can take actions if you see that you are getting close to non-compliance. And you can set up different threshold limits. Of course, you should have an escalation mechanism in case it is not following the normal service path. And then also you should have regular check as how you are performing on your SLAs. Are you complying mostly or are you non-complying? So you should have a report access where all these compliance and non-compliance, you should be able to get it. So now let's get into some of the kind of features that we discussed earlier and how should it look like. So this is an example of a service catalog. So as you can see, if you want to basically report an incident, if you want to get some online application services or mobile computing services, the service is just one click away from the service desk catalog. Okay? The traceability is an important part of your ITSM lifecycle solution. So you start with a service request, then you get into incident, get into problem, get into change. So you should be able to trace these lifecycle items one from the another as you are kind of providing the service. So your ITSM solution should have an infrastructure for traceability establishment, and so that you get an end-to-end traceability. Then we talked about this workflow. So this is an example of a service request process. It could be simple, it could be complex. This is a typical scenario, and you should have a workflow designer where you can build these ITSM processes as per your corporate definition. Also, the solution must provide best practice templates. So Covair provides best practice templates, but you can also customize or tweak as per your organization requirement. This is an example of an incident process. So you can have multiple processes for your different objects like incident, problem, change, or even multiple flavors of process for each process area. And this is a problem resolution process. This is a change management process. Then this is an example of a dashboard where you can see your incident submission trend, your incident classification, your change submission threads. So this is an example, but you can build you should be able to build your own dashboard with your own gadget types as per your service requirement. So let's get into the different flavors of ITSM. And this is a very, very important consideration when you are choosing an ITSM solution. So if you are a large corporate, then you have an IT team providing services to your employees. And your employees could be in globally distributed locations. And you are providing IT services, HR services, travel and finance and stuff, things like that. So this is one type of ITSM service, okay? Another type is you are a service provider company providing services to your customers, and your customers are multiple from different locations, and have different kind of service requirements, different SLAs, and service catalog requirement. So you should be able to use one ITSM solution, set it up for your customers as per specific customer SLA requirement and then service catalog requirement. So it is important that your ITSM solution should support all these different flavors of ITSM as you need. Now let's get into what Covair provides as a value for the ITSM solution. So number one, it is 100% web architected. So that means it is available, accessible from anywhere, anytime, and you don't need to install anything on your desktop or laptop. It is accessible through the browser. Of course, we talked about the workflow engine. So Covair comes up with a very powerful workflow designer and automation engine. You don't need to do any kind of hard coding. It is just drag and drop Visio-like designer that you can use. Covair provides a highly configurable platform. Of course, it comes up with the best practice ITIL compliant solution already out of the box, but as you know that you may need different kind of configuration based on your specific organization need, and that you should be able to do without any coding, without involving your engineering or development. As a service administrator, you should be able to configure that easily. Highly scalable. So if you are providing services to large number of customers, then your system should be scalable, and Covair is scalable and also multi-tenant. It's extremely secured. We are already kind of the solution is getting used by Department of Homeland Security, defense contractors, global banks, and federal government. The system can be up and running quickly. So Covair is providing an out-of-box solution for ITSM, so you can just install the application and start using it. And if you're using a SaaS model, which we'll talk in a few minutes, then you should be able to up and kind of start using the system right away. It's built with the state-of-the-art technology, and also, of course, we have that integration technology, and that is a very important factor because you would be using a lot of other tools for your asset discovery, device monitoring, application performance monitoring, all these tools, and how do you connect all these tools to your ITSM solution. So that is an important feature. The delivery models. So we have an on-premise perpetual license model.